All right,
Yes, sir.
I want to get into it right away, fellas, because they got us on the clock here. But before we do it, just for the sake of everyone in the room that may not be familiar with the brand, I want to play a little video just to give people a little bit of background as to what you guys are doing and the important work that you're doing.
Here are two young men
Two brothers that had a vision.
who played the game, know the game, want to influence the game.
There's no one that looks like us that's doing it like this.
Earl and they're bringing cool to a sport. Reshape the culture of the game of golf.
Like the new chapter.
Let's go golf. Let's go golf. Let's go golf. Let's go golf. Got my Eastside golf shoes on and them floss and the ones and the fours and the...
Amazing, amazing. Give it up for the Eastside Golf founders. All right, fellas. Look, like I said when I walked in here earlier, there's this resurgence of what's going on in golf, and you guys both have backgrounds in the sport, right? Olajuwon, you're a pro golfer, right? And Earl, you've been a golf trainer, right? I'm sure your game is good enough to go pro as well. But I would love, for the sake of the crowd, for you guys to give us a little bit of background on your origin story. Like, how did Eastside Golf, how did you guys go from playing golf to conceptualizing, developing this incredible brand?
Yeah, so Olajuwon Ajanaku, founder of Eastside Golf. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Was born in Houston, Texas. I started, I would say, moved to East Atlanta when I was about 2 years old. I started playing golf when I was 6 years old, all the way through middle school, high school. Even when I was 13, I got sponsored by Nike to go up to Chicago to get a 30-minute lesson from Tiger Woods. Wow. From there, middle school, high school, ended up getting a golf scholarship to Morehouse College, and that's where I met Earl. And we won a national championship while we were there, 2010, Division II. And from there, Earl graduated first, 2011, became a PGA professional. I turned pro in 2012 after I graduated. I did that for a couple of years, won a couple of mini tour events, so I have professional wins under my belt. But it got to a point I just couldn't afford it anymore. Taken up by jobs. I was a caddy. I was I used to wash carts, and I graduated from college just trying to make enough money to sponsor myself for pro golf. So mom, one day I got home, my mom was just like, yo, it's about that time for you to get a job, So ended up starting my finance career. I was in commercial vehicle finance for about 8 years. I financed tractors, trailers, construction equipment. I basically help owner-operators scale their business from 1 to 3 pieces of equipment all the way to 25, 30 pieces. So scaling businesses is what I was doing prior to this. But I was looking at VP role, for the same company. And, I was just like, this ain't it. I want to turn back pro. But the whole thing was, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be very expensive. So one thing led to another. I was just like, let me just make a logo. Let me put the logo on my bag and my polo. And I ended up showing him the logo. He was just like, yo, put that on a T-shirt. So I did. I went downtown Detroit at the time. I maybe got stopped about 100 times in 2 hours. Just like, who are you? What's that logo? Where can I get it? And do you play golf? So I knew I had something, but still didn't know what it was, So Earl was just like, run with it. So ended up making T-shirts, sweatshirts, socks, lapels, umbrellas. And from there, the first 3,000 orders I shipped out from my apartment myself.
Wow, wow. I mean, look, that is kind of the quintessential entrepreneurial story. Like, you guys go from finance, you're still playing golf, you're still teaching golf. What was the learning curve like to get into the fashion game? Like, what was the crash course you had to take?
Well, when I first started, it was, I could have used Champion blanks, but I just went for the most expensive blank that I could find.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have anything, I wanted it to be straight quality, all the way. So I knew it was going to be very expensive, and for some reason, during my finance time, I was just saving money. I had no, probably buy a house one day or something, but ended up taking all of that, my savings, maxed out the credit card, sold all the cryptocurrency, maxed out the 401k, and end up buying inventory with all that money. So, but I mean, I've been in the fashion since I was 7, 8 years old, you know.
And what about you, Earl? I mean, like, what was the learning curve for you? Because obviously, you're the one that kind of encouraged Olajuwon to put it on the shirt, right? So what is the dynamic between you guys in the company now? Like, how do you split the responsibilities?
Yeah, and that's a great question. As he said, it's an honor to be here. For us, how we split the responsibilities right now, I operate as a CEO. He's a creative director, so I'm basically overseeing day-to-day operations, a lot of forecasting, looking into 2025, partnerships, those sorts of things. But oftentimes, you know, when you think about our business and the ability to scale a business is difficult. But I think the superpower that we possess is that we look inward, right? Because there isn't any golf brand out there that is doing what we're doing. And we remember when we were 12 and 13 years old, looking and searching for, you know, something to represent us, because oftentimes it was like putting on a uniform. You know, you had the khakis and a white polo. Yeah. Right, that was it. That's what you searched for, in white shoes, and that was kind of the look. But there was anything that I ever wanted to wear to school. Like, I never, you know, growing up as a kid playing golf, I never went to school, quote unquote, in my golf outfit or my golf uniform. So I think that's a lot of where we pull inspiration from, and that's kind of been our superpower, because no one's been able to really do it in that way. And I think also, you know, me working in the golf industry, I've met so many great, you know, mentors and African Americans along the way that have always wanted to kind of do what we're doing, in a sense, or not even say what we're doing, but push for more rooms like this to be welcome to the golf course. And I think it was just more about timing. You know, timing had a lot to do with it. Obviously, it's an amazing logo. You know, a lot of people don't know, but like, COVID is a big component on why the game is just booming. Yeah. You know, because we were all sitting at home. It was the only thing you could do. You got more time. And oftentimes, like I tell people all the time, the misconception of the game is that it's a white man's game, right? And what that does psychologically, and we were talking about this before, where it's like you now associate the rules as the white man's rules. So then you feel like I got to go out there and be kind of disruptive. And the point I'm trying to make is that COVID allowed people just to find the game on their own and define it for themselves. And they were like, oh shit, this is actually fun. It's just me, I'm outside, I'm challenging myself, I can bring my friends with me, I'm spending time with people. So again, I think part of it is kind of dismissing the fact that it's not a white man's game, it's not a black man's game, it's golf, it's a game. And then, yes, there's white people that play it, but yes, there's black people that play it, everyone can play it.
Well, I'm going to stay with you for a second, Earl, but what gave you the confidence understanding some of those stigmas that precede the way that we think about golf, or how certain communities think about us when they see us on the golf course, right? What was, I guess, the defining moment for you that made you feel that you can actually bring this brand to the market and be embraced by a community that is so segmented?
Nah, great question. It wasn't like a light bulb went off, like I had all this confidence. I mean, obviously when I saw the logo, I'm like, yo, that's dope. You should put that on a shirt. Like, I can remember saying that, right? What I will say, for me, in 2016, I was named Golf Digest one of the best teachers in America. Yeah. Thank you.
So if you need to get your short game right, holla at me.
Yeah. And leading up to that, I'd worked at several golf clubs across the country, really well known, Detroit Golf Club and Wilmington Country Club, where I was the first African-American golf professional. And when I became one of the best young teachers in America, my best friend since 5th grade came to me and was like, yo, I finally want to learn how to play golf. Like, you say you one of the best, show me. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, yo, come meet me at the country club. And when I'm telling them, I kind of got home and it dawned on me, I'm like, oh shit, like, you can't come. I'm not a member, and neither are you. I'm an employee. So I'm like, this isn't right. I got to figure, you know what I mean? So that was kind of the moment for me, and ended up pivoting. And I think him and I, you know, we always talked about this, right? Like, we've been in the back of the bus on the way to golf tournaments back at Morehouse, speaking on how, we wish golf was more diverse or more comfortable, or, our mothers our mothers played or our family played, because that's also like, you live in a dynamic where, you're doing all these great things, but there's really no one to talk to at home about it because they don't know, right? And they're doing their best, but we always wanted to like bring it home and wanted them at least to feel comfortable. It's never about you being a professional golfer. It's just about you feeling comfortable, and I think that's what our brand does well.
So you guys launched a brand. You're selling 2,000 shirts. And what was that defining moment for you, when you were like, we got something here. This is real. This is not just some DTC hustle where we're going to make some extra money, to subsidize the rent or whatever. When did you know you actually had something?
I would say I knew I had something, of course, the first 100 people that asked me about it in Detroit. I mean, that was in a matter of like an hour and a half. Every 2 steps I took, somebody was asking me, like, who are you? What's that logo? Where can I get it? And do you play golf? So I say then, but then also we went down to the PGA show. So, I mean, of course I did 3,000 orders, but that was to, I would say, just the regular world. The golf world is a whole nother world. Yeah. So going down to the PGA show, that is where they have so many different golf brands, different golf companies, and they're selling so many different things. But we just had our book bag, put some sweatshirts in there, took off down there, and when we got there, you can always tell, as Earl always says, but I mean, people were just looking at us, I mean, of course, we black in the golf space, but they were, like, really looking at us. And then we got a couple of times, it's about time. I see something that reminds me or looks like me, and it's comforting. I feel like the game is more approachable just by looking at the logo. So that's how I knew.
Yeah. No, that's great. Like, sometimes you don't need to have the sales to know that the sales are going to come once you get the reaction from the community that has been ignored or, historically essentially disenfranchised from the sport. When you're seeing folks like Steph Curry, DJ Khaled, the whole hip hop community posting, playing golf now, like, when did that occur? And did that play a factor or help you gain the confidence to basically say, all right, there's actually a foundational movement that's happening here that we can draft off of? Or were you part of helping ignite that?
I mean, I got to, highlight one of our OGs, Wendell Haskin. Wendell is an amazing guy, but he's one for both of us. We kind of saw it early, like he was bringing in that music industry and getting guys to play. But, again, to your point, it was, I felt like, lighting the flame. And then I think when we came, that's when the wildfire started, because one of the things I think, again, for us, we were able to meet people where they were. Yeah. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that you name in, whether it be like the Victor Cruz. Like, I can remember Victor Cruz's first photo shoot with us. He didn't even know how to hold a golf club, right? But he wanted to play golf, right? So it wasn't, again, the point is not the fact that he didn't know, but the point that we were in, the studio, and I'm making him feel comfortable. I'm like, oh, this is how you hold it. This is the position that you need. And now he's gone on to work with TaylorMade, Maynard Golf, like all these big brands in golfing every day. But again, it's like that step by step. I mean, the same thing, if you check out our documentary on Hulu, we were sitting in Khaled's backyard talking about golf, right? And I think what we were able to do is to make people feel comfortable on the golf course because we have the credentials and the experience, right? So it's one thing for somebody to be like your uncle who played a little bit of golf and was like, had a career in whatever he did or she did, telling you to play golf. It's totally different when, we step up to you as collegiate golfers, PGA professionals, best young teacher in America. We have all these credentials, and that's what you've never really seen, right? Like, we've been fortunate to play, the creme de la creme, Augusta National, right? It gets no better than that, right? However, in still playing that golf course and how amazing it is, we realize that you're still the same, right? And it's still just grass. It's nice,
Yeah.
but whatever bills we walked in, problems, girlfriend, whatever, you left with the same. And so the point that, what we do is that in golf, they often, we think about it often, how do you grow a game that worships exclusivity, right? And that's what we don't do. Yeah. We don't worship the exclusivity of the game. We try to break down the barriers and, again, make sure people feel comfortable when they're coming into the game. And as O like to say, the first thing first is you got to look good. That's us as a culture. We're not going to show up nowhere half-assed. We got to show up looking fly, feeling good before we even know what golf ball, what golf bag, any of that. Like, what's on my feet, you know what I mean, before we do that. And so I think we take, again, all of those things, all of those experiences is what, every day these, the team and I would pour into the product.
Now, we always going to bring swag to whatever we do. We always going to elevate it. Our culture elevates everything that we touch. But there's also a flip side of that. Sometimes you're not always embraced when you're bringing new thinking to something that obviously has a lot of historical equity that doesn't necessarily want to see us enter or change. So what are some of the obstacles that you've experienced that made you feel like, all right, I have this credible story, I should be able to play anywhere, but I'm not necessarily feeling like they're accepting us now? I'm assuming there's still some of that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Where do I start?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, one of the problems that I have or just continuously hear is how, they see our logo and, people see our logo and, particularly I would say non-diverse people see our logo and it's just like, yeah, I can't wear that. I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's a golfer, yeah. I mean, you wear Ralph Lauren, but you don't play polo, so it's like, it's just a golfer, it's a brand and it's great quality, but also the story about it. Hopefully that's something that just more people can hear. And that'll be something that can push them towards the game or give them the confidence at the end of the day to even try it, So many different country clubs that we're in now that looked at us, honestly, like year 2, year 3 crazy. Like, how are y'all going to sell this big logo of black man, jeans, sweatshirt, Cuban link chain, actually to all of these different people? And the further we go, the better quality that we get, I mean, it just starts to make more sense, but that is something that we combat all the time. It's just, this brand is for everybody. This game is for everybody, and at the end of the day, like, psychologically, like, when you see this logo, eventually the more you see it, I feel the more accepted maybe diverse people will be in the game. So
See, when I look at the product that you guys put out, man, it screams lifestyle to me, right? And so was it intentional to start out with a line that was more focused around lifestyle than performance? Because you would think specific brands that want to build equity in a specific sports space want to start with performance and then move to lifestyle. Where I feel like you guys are a perfect combination of both, where people who want performance now still want style, or they still want the ability to bring their own personal original flavor to the course. So was that a factor into how you thought about entering the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think, our approach, I like to use analogies a lot. So it's like growing the church, right? I grew up in the church. You can't grow the church or necessarily even grow this room without going outside. And so the church is golf, or the golf course would be that. And we decided and knew very early on, like, the people we want to reach and the growth opportunities is not going to be running an Eastside golf ad on the golf channel, because you're speaking to golfers. We needed to run this or reach, we had an NBA licensing deal. That was our first licensing deal. Chris Paul was one of the first people to, like, really have our breakout viral moment. And we saw it resonate. And so But we knew that was an opportunity. And now you look at a plethora of NBA players playing, from Jason Tatum, he's wearing our gear all the time, to Jordan Clarkson. You know, we just posted him today. And again, Jordan's got very long hair, punk rock vibe, you know, nails are painted. But he's like, yo, I'm sitting down with him at Fashion Week, and all he want to do is talk golf. Like, literally last week, he like, yo, can you come out here to Utah? Let's get it in before the season start, right? And again, we have always been a brand that has embraced and loved on anyone that supports us. And especially when you're starting a company, I think it's so important. Too often, people try to convince everybody to buy their product instead of focusing on the people that do buy it, right? And loving on them. Like, I can remember liking every comment, responding to every DM. Like, just when you're getting this thing off the ground, those are the things that make the biggest difference. Instead of, like, trying to go get somebody to like it, did you go back and follow the person that did like it? You know?
Yeah, look, when I see the brand, and I've been obviously, you know, in preparation for this meeting, in addition to just my familiarity with your story, it seems as if the people truly who support your product feel connected to not only your story and your mission and your purpose, but it feels like your marketing is really community driven, right? And when you have a small operation like you guys do, but you're creating so much noise, how important is building a sense of community around that mission so other people can evangelize it or feel empowered, because it really, truly, to your earlier point, speaks to how they self-identify or the gap they need to feel from a sense of belonging in their own self. Oh,
yeah, it's huge. Community is huge. I mean, from the beginning have always, you know, impressed upon myself and the entire team, you know, what are we doing to give back? And we've done that, one, through our alma mater, you know, Morehouse College. We met at Morehouse. So we quickly realized, like, we can't be on this stage talking about where we met and Morehouse this and Morehouse that, and that program is in a wreck. You know, so I'm proud to say we've given back over $250,000 to the Morehouse College golf team.
give it up. Give it up.
But beyond that, you know, everyone is going to ask that question, what are you doing for the community, right? Like, how are you reaching the community? And what we launched was a program called Eastside Golf Community Day. And we put a lot of thought into it because we know that we can't make the game cheap, right? We're not in that position. However, what we can do is, how do we eliminate the financial burden for someone to discover the beauty of the game itself? And so what we've done is we've gone into major markets, we buy out an entire golf course for the day. And not only do we buy out the golf course and invite folks, but we also bring food trucks. So there's no food, so there's no cost of food, dessert trucks. We bring in water, we're bringing apparel. We often bring golf instructors out there. So the idea is that eliminate the entire financial burden for someone to experience golf, with the goal and hopes that they realize, like, oh, a bucket of balls is only $15, $20. And, oh, you live down the street, so do I. Me and you can come out here next week or the following week. And I think one of the things that we've also learned is that, and when we're talking to people about it, it's not just underrepresented communities. You all are invited into our community day. No matter if you are C-level or entry level, it doesn't matter, because that's the beauty of what we represent. And we've seen people fly into our community days and put themselves up in a hotel, you know, and spend the money. They have the money to spend, but they're like, I don't have nobody to play with, or I want to be a part of this community. And so for us, we continue to expand what that word community means. And we continue to give back, but also we want to make sure that, you know, there's power in this game. And if you're in that executive or climbing, go play golf, learn how to play golf, because oftentimes we're sitting on the sidelines and it's just another way for us to miss opportunities. And I like to say, it's power in the game. That's why they don't want us to play it.
You know, that's an amazing point, and I'm just going to double down on that, because we were talking earlier about our own, as people of color, sometimes predispositions around where we think we have access to go versus where we should be going, right? Because we don't historically see ourselves in those places. So you have emphasized several times, we need to meet people where they are in order to bring them where we all need to be, right? So how has it been kind of, how do you approach your marketing and your communications to try and make people who haven't been exposed to the game or have that psychological barrier that may impact their ability to even feel if the game is for them to say, no, you're invited, this is for us, we belong here?
Yeah, I would say, well, first, when they see the logo, they're just like, yeah, it's probably something I want to be a part of, you know. But as time goes on, it's just, I would say, a lot of people just kind of, I would say, shift their vibe towards something, or I would say more entrepreneurs and people that are just more ambitious. They see what we're doing, and they hear all the time that golf is something that can, that they can close a deal with, or they can just be a better person or learn morals and values. But as time goes on, they see that this game can truly help them, you know. Before this, I was in finance. How many $1 million deals I closed when I was in finance, but I only talked about the deal maybe 10 minutes on the golf course. You know, I mean, I'm out there 5 hours with this guy or woman, and, you know, at the end of it, it's just like, so what's that deal that you had? You know, and we're sitting there talking about it, and one of the other finance companies beat me out of maybe 0.2 basis points, something like that. And then all of a sudden he's just like, nah, but I like you. This deal is yours, you know. But seeing that over and over, and now being in business with, now my best friend, but now being in business and seeing how people, I would say, gravitate towards the game and gravitate toward Eastside golf. I mean, I really feel like we have a future, and I feel like golf is the future, and it's the glue of business. And I would say that's what we're showing.
That's incredible. I think we need to have a Blackweek golf invitational.
For sure, let's do it.
We need to do this, bring this to the A.
Powered by Eastside Golf.
There it is.
Yeah.
You know, do some deals on the 9th hole.
Yeah.
Sure. No, this is great. Now, I mean, look, this is a marketing conference, and that's a big part of the constituency and the folks that are in the room. And your backgrounds inherently, I would say, isn't necessarily marketing, but you've almost created a masterclass on how to build awareness and excitement around a brand that's essentially pretty new, really fast. I mean, you've had a Hulu documentary. I don't know how you get that done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we need a Blackweek Hulu documentary, so you can hook me up with the people.
Exactly.
And then, you know, you're doing Nike collabs. Like, so how does that happen?
I mean, look, I think for us, it's about timing, but golf has been opened up so many doors, right? We've been able to meet folks on the golf course. So you talk about the documentary that came through Sean Peckus, who I first actually met on the golf course at the original T Classic. And now Peck works with us closely over at CAA.
I knew Sean when he had an office with no windows in it.
There you go. So, you know, but the story goes, literally, he was EP in one of the projects, and he got us featured in the documentary. They loved it so much, they said, no, we're going to do the whole thing on them, and added an episode, right? So that was one way. You know, the Jordan was through golf. You know, we played golf with Chris Paul. He introduced us to Gentry Humphrey, and then, you know, went on to Michael Jordan. But I think for us, when we approach these brand deals and brand opportunities, where we are now is we like long-term comprehensive, right? And so, like, as we like to say, we like to salt the senses and then come out with something big. We don't just want to come out of left field with something, but we really have a strong point of view, because most, I feel like, either marketing or agencies don't really know how to speak to that new golfer. And so where we come in is we say, okay, look, we know the value that you're looking. You're looking for attention, you're looking for impressions, you're looking for reach. Trust us that we know how to bring in that audience. And so we recently did that with Shopify. We had a pop-up in New York City, and we blew it out. Like, they were sitting here like, we've never seen this many people. They couldn't imagine it. But again, we bring that element of that lifestyle, that streetwear. Like, we released the shoes. We had a Bridgestone collab. We did a collab with Paper Planes. But it's all authentic. And I think that's like our secret weapon, right? Like we can authentically connect with the world of golf, but also connect with culture. And so when the brands are looking to kind of merge those two together, we are the perfect vehicle or the perfect bridge to, authentically speak to whether it be culturally relevant opportunities or whether it be golf opportunities.
Awesome. With the time we have left, I have one more question, man. What is the vision for Eastside Golf moving forward? What can we expect? What gets you guys excited? And then what concerns you the most?
I go with vision. And vision. So first, we do have a store opening at Detroit Airport in June 2025.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be our
DTW.
first brick and mortar. I'm talking with the city of Atlanta about maybe an Eastside golf club, an actual golf course. So us
that.
owning a golf course.
sure.
And then on top of that, I would say maybe our own shoe. We've talked about it here and there, but I mean, we're going to keep collabing with Nike up until, but maybe our own shoe. And then lastly, maybe working with Mercedes-Benz to build a golf cart. I mean, we're also Mercedes-Benz ambassadors, so we work very close with Mercedes.
Yeah. I think, look, man, concerning would just be as the business continues to scale and grow to keep that ethos, right? Because it's hard as the business grow to touch everybody and make sure that they go through this process and understand kind of what this business is really all about. I think the other concern is just how do we grow, right? Like, I don't think there's a question on whether we're growing. It's just how do we want to grow? Is that through big box retailer, which we put out a strategy earlier this year where we wanted to be everything golf because, it's like a pendulum, right? And we were very heavy lifestyle, streetwear, but we were listening to the consumer. They're like, but y'all don't got nothing for me to wear on the golf course. Like, I see what y'all got now, but I don't have nothing to wear on the golf course. So we focused on that, and we have great products, so you'll be able to get that in the PGA Superstore, Golf Galaxy, local country clubs, really expanding there. But I just think, again, as we continue to grow, it's just going to be very important to understand that our consumer is going to evolve. And how are we meeting them where they are? And so that's adding on. So if everyone in this room went to say, all right, I'm going to download the Eastside Golf app and I want to purchase something, how can we meet you where you are based on who you are? So you could be that person that says, well, I want to know where a golf course is near me. How can Eastside Golf provide that information? Or if you know where the golf course is, but I want to get golf clubs, how can we provide that information? Or if you know where the golf course is and have golf clubs, but now you need lessons, how can we provide that information? So I think that's going to be really, when you start talking about LTV, lifetime value of a customer, those are going to be the things that kind of drive it. And then that's when you start getting your AOV up and all of the kind of really getting into the data is where it's like we're really thinking about our customer. And we always talk about it internally. It's like great events, because we do really good events, is thoughtfulness, right? And so how are we thinking about our consumer every step of the way to ensure them that our goal is that they're comfortable. So when you arrive, you can be like, nah, Eastside told me this was the bag to have, this was the polo to wear, this is what, the swing needs to look like. I'm ready to go. So if anybody's fucking with you, like, yo, you're really messing with me. And it has nothing to do with who I am. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with how I came. It's who I am.
Earl Cooper, Olajuwon, Ajanaku, founders, Eastside Golf.
Thank you.
Thank you, brothers, so much. We're proud of you. Download the app and buy some golf stuff.
Download that app.
Please
it's
download
free.
the app.
Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Appreciate y'all.